Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Is redneck going to be a racial slur like it used to be, and then nobody really cared about it? But will it be again? Because, as we see here, Unilever renames Fair and Lovely skin cream after backlash. They don't want to call it fair, basically. It's a skin lightening cream which has been criticized for promoting negative stereotypes around dark skin tones. It will also remove references to whitening or lightening on the products, which are sold across Asia. Yep, so it's not something that's happening in the Western world, almost as if we've gone, yeah, we're fine with people looking as they want to, and the idea that whiter is more beautiful isn't the case here. As they say, Unilever acknowledge the branding suggests a singular ideal of beauty, but it is just in the Middle Eastern and Asian markets. We know that that is the case in China, of course, that they wish to look fairer, and that essentially comes back to the redneck idea, that redneck is a slur that they're called more simple-minded, and it could have been because of a virus or bacteria at the time which was rife affecting their brains, but also because, of course, the idea of redneck is you're out in the fields all day, you're looking down, and therefore the back of your neck gets sunburnt, and therefore you have a red neck. That is the origin of it. And just like in China, where people are hoping to get out of the fields and into sweatshops, they love those sweatshops because they're earning a lot more than they would do otherwise and working a lot less than they would be otherwise. And it's a great stepping stone to get on to greater things in life. So the sweatshops out there for the individuals are very popular, but the idea that they're bad is then not taking into account the other things they'd have to do if they couldn't work in those situations, and that's why they flock to it. Just like the only remnants of looking down on field workers in the Western world really is women wanting longer fingernails, because of course if they're a peasant or lower class, then they'll be working with their hands and their fingernails would get chipped and they wouldn't be able to keep them nicely manicured. Whereas if they're more refined and don't have to do the work, then they can have longer, better kept fingernails. That goes back centuries as well, and is still a holdover from that era that we still attest to. So the way that ties into lighter skin and factory work is because you can tell in China, when they're still concerned about the class issues, of course, not so much as with India, the caste system, but if you're outside, then you're going to have a darker skin tone because of the sun. Therefore, you want to look like you have a lighter skin tone because it shows that you're of a more upper class, and it's a status symbol to show that you're not tanned. Historically in England, of course, that was also shown as the whiteness being purity and the blackness being impure or evil. You see that with old Elizabeth I is a great example, where she'd paint her face white and then even paint her veins back on her face. Of course, using lead-based paint didn't really help, and just made things worse when she wasn't covering her face, since by all accounts her facial complexion wasn't as nice as is portrayed. But also in terms of black and white, when it's got her positioned with her back to black and then facing the white and the pure and the new world, that is the idea, that you turn your back on darkness and you go towards the light. Same thing, of course, with heaven and hell. Step towards the light. It's more of a pure thing, as you can see more with light, and if it's light, you've always been able to get more done. We used to base everything around the day and the sun, of course. We're diurnal, that is, we wake up during the day, go to sleep during the night. Historically, you couldn't get anything done at night because there wasn't any light, and also with the heat as well, that you wake up when light touches your body, not just your eyes because of the photoreceptors on your skin, and also when it gets warmer, that is also when you wake up. So go to sleep in a cold, dark room, you'll sleep a lot better. Just a trick for you there. But Unilever's response has been really over the top in apologising so much, and we recognise that the use of the words fair, white and light suggests a singular ideal of beauty that we don't think is right, and we want to address this. Let's not forget that when it comes to the way that China approaches these things, of course, you remember the Kyobi advert from a few years back, about 4 years ago, where it showed the the Chinese lady having a black man working for her, and she's doing her cleaning. puts him in the washer, muffled screaming. And out pops the Chinese man that she's very happy to see, and his wink at camera as well, to show the point. And then the slogan at the end says, "Change begins with Kirby." My Chinese is not nearly fluent. So that's the way that China takes these things, and they don't really care. But what's even better is that in this article, that they're showing that, oh, it's all about the company and how bad the company is. And yet they mention here with Nivea's Natural Fairness line is sold in the Middle East, India, as well as Nigeria and Ghana. On its Middle East website, the product is described as being able to prevent the darkening of skin tone. So, experience the cream that evens and nourishes your skin and contains sun protecting factor 15 to prevent darkening of skin tone. The Care Fairness cream contains vitamin C and pearl extract. Your skin looks even and beautiful without a sticky feeling. Skin compatibility dermatologically approved. Cool. So, the whole point of this is that you've got people in other cultures, other countries, who, of course, have their culture, and apparently all cultures are beautiful. That is what their culture holds to be more sacrosanct. They want fairer skin because they don't want to look common. They want to look more refined, and therefore they have lighter skin because they're not slogging away outdoors, but instead they have shelter. And therefore the company is going, well, yes, we will help you achieve this standard that you want. And then in the West, they've gone, yes, but we don't like this, so you can't help out the poor people in other countries. Don't you try and encourage them to change their social status? No. On one side, you could say it's all about honesty and fairness, if that's the right word, that you shouldn't be showing yourself to be something that you're not. So I hope they go after makeup, or fake up as it's referred to in some circles, after this as well. That, you know, you've got to be honest, and if you're using something like foundation as well, then to cover up your skin, then that's definitely not right, and women shouldn't be doing that because it's therefore not showing them exactly as they are. But the main thing to highlight here is the disconnect between going, oh, so the people in the West are racist, but the people in other countries, of course, are not racist. Even though they're going after this company that's not doing these things in the West, and not the people who have those views that are not in the West. Because if you're not Western, if you're not white, of course you can never be racist, and thinking anything like that, just you as an individual, or, as they would suggest then, you're brainwashed, you can't think for yourself, you can't take care of yourself, and you have to be told what to do by these enlightened individuals in the West. And yes, they may very well be middle class, white socialists, young adults, if you can even call them adults, extended childhood, there you go, and they're going to tell you what to do, because that's not racist, and that's definitely the right way to go about things. So I really can't see where this can possibly go in a positive direction. Of course, we're already seeing that they're trying to end anti-discrimination laws in the US, especially in California, in order to allow segregation to happen again, to have black-only spaces and the white-only spaces, to see the disproportionate kind of racial use of face masks as well, that you've got to if you're white but not if you're black, because people discriminate against black people wearing masks even though everyone's supposed to be wearing them. All that seems okay. So we're going back to segregation, and we're flipping the tables then. Is this just to try and improve on black supremacy? Well, we'll have to see whether they wish to be true to it and say the same for rednecks then, that if they're trying to be nice about it, then they should say we're trying to abolish the caste system and any class warfare. We're trying to get rid of those divides and treat everybody as an individual. No matter where you're from, you can do whatever you want, which is of course what America is supposed to stand for. But they seem to be going against that as well by saying now that race is the most important thing. So the cognitive dissonance, the lack of internal logic will of course be their downfall, as it always is. The same thing with purity testing. that there's just enters a spiral of decline until you're left with the in group being much, much smaller than the out group, and then they're swallowed up. If you've got your fenced off, your walled off city, if you will, you throw a couple people out, then of course they're on their own, good luck. But if you throw everyone out and you're left, then either they're going to take over again because they outnumber you a lot, or they're going to start something else. And that's where this is going. So maybe it's good, because with so many people being in the out group, we're no longer in the out group. We're the new in group. And we've had enough time to set things up properly and be able to say for years, well, we told you this would happen. We told you so. Maybe now listen to what we have to say. And we can talk about it openly, because one of the first things that goes is, of course, freedom of speech. And that's something that we hold to be incredibly important. So we'd like to be able to talk openly about these things. And if you disagree, we're happy to hear it. We're not going to stop you. So, maybe it's good news after all. And until next time, as always, have a good one.